features in orthographic projection. Center line. Center line represents a symmetry. Means if some part is symmetrical on the both sides, it must be it must be shown by the center line. It represents symmetricity, path of motion, center of circle, axis symmetrical part. Dimension and extension line again is indicate the sizes and location of the feature on the drawing. On our next topic, dimensioning, we will discuss this in briefly. So as we can see, the types of line are part outlines, that means heavy, section line, that is light, hidden line, that is medium, center line, again light. Dimension line can be seen by this way. It extends from the edges or the datum, and it can be shown by two ladders. Ladder had arrows, and in between we have to write the figure. This is called dimension line. Cutting plane line can be shown by heavy chain but double dashed chain line. Break lines can be heavy but curvy line. Break line can be shown by the irregular continuous line or dashed line, as we can see on the screen, and that is drawn as a light. Line conventions. So what lines can be used when? As said before, it can be used very importantly, and no line has other use than itself. Every line has unique function. For example, visible line, solid thick lines that represent visible edges or contours. Hidden line, short evenly spaced text that can depict hidden features. Section line, solid thin lines that indicates cut surfaces. Section line, sometimes the objects we need to take cut section, cross section we can say. From that part we have to show the chain line and at the both end thick, so that is called section line. So solid thin line that indicates cut surface. Center line, again long and short dashed dimension line that can be used extension or direction. Cutting plane or viewing plane lines indicate location of the cutting plane for section views and viewing the portion of removed partial views. Breaking line indicates only a portion of an object which is drawn. Breaking line is importantly to use because sometimes we need to take the short part, only a limited portion of the drawing, and we need to describe as a this part is continuation, and we can use dashed line as well. Dashed line we can use for the continuous repeating the object, and that is called the continuation line. Again, in this figure all the lines application are shown. The first one is viewing plane line, extension line where the dimension line is given. So the third one is dimension line. The fourth one is center line. The dashed line is shown as a hidden line. So the part is hidden, so there must be some groove in this object and it's shown as a hidden line. Again, the not fully element is shown, so the partially drawing is shown, that's why it's broken line, that's why it's uneven line. Cutting plane lines, see the cutting plane lines, it's shown by the arrow, the direction where we are, the section line is been shown by AA, so we have to see view AA for that section. visible line, center line of a motion. Here the element is in motion, so the second part is shown in the chain line, double dash chain line. That is called ladder. The arrow with the dimension line, extension line. We are using ladder to show the diameter or radius most of the time. The view BB is showing as seen the visible plane line. So it gives the direction BB and section AA as we can see in the ladder line. Moving further in lettering. So we are going to use lettering for the application to write on a text on the drawing. Text can be written on the drawing to show the dimension, to show some notes, to show title blocks given a title, to define some rules, and sometimes for making some special comments. So in order to carry out the clear dimensions and clear text, most of the time we need to write on the drawing. So it's important that our writing should be uniform and as per the standards. So what are the standards that governs the to type the text? There's some standard letterings. The ANSI, American Standard Institute, has given some guidelines for the standard writing. The writing text style should be Gothic. It can be inclined or it can be vertical. We can use all the capital letters, and the text height should be no less than 3 mm actually. Space between the line should be at least 1/3 of the text height. So the direction we are going to write is called stroke, and there are several strokes: straight, slanted, horizontal, curved. Application of this basic stroke can be seen like this way. To write I, to write A, and to write B, we can see the curved stroke, and we are going to see some of this example right now. So what are the different type of the stroke we are going to use, and what are the suggested standard stroke sequence? As we can see on the screen, a straight line letters, uppercase letters, and numerals. So the straight line letters are starting from I, A, E, L to N. The curved line letters, for example O, C, Q, G, D, we need to curve the stroke. And curved line letters and numerals are, as we can see on the screen, these strokes are recommended. However, one can use their own experience way. So to writing letters, there is no fixed style. We can use as convenient. So the writing of the text is self-explanatory. However, these strokes lines are suggested. For lowercase is like this, suggested stroke sequence. Again, the text body height is about 2/3 the height of the capital letter. Stroke sequence for L, it should is like this. Here we used as a 4 cell, as we can see, but one can use the graph paper to practice this kind of stroke and letters. Stroke sequence for smaller letters, it can be seen like this. For capital letters we are using full space. However, smaller letters we are using less space. And for the curvy sequence, it takes experience, so it's self-explanatory. One can use their own style. There is no fixed style for this. However, it is recommended that one use this stroke sequence. Again, back on the topic, text on the drawing. So text on the engineering drawing is used to communicate non-graphic informations. It is also substitutes some graphical information in those, for instance, where text can be communicate the needed information more clearly and quickly. Thus, to writing the text, two things needs to be consideration carefully. Legibility, that means shape and the space between the letters and words, and uniformity, that means the sizes and line thickness. It means that text should be of the same size everywhere in the sheet and same line thickness as applied. Here we have an example of a drawing and the text on this engineering drawing. We have several text on this drawing. We can see this text on the upper side is dimension and notes. On the dimension line, sometimes text are used to describe the tolerance and fits. Next, the notes are given sometimes as a general rule, some consideration, some explanation. On the bottom of the or wherever the space available, it can be written as a lines, and texts are used on a title block, sometimes to describe the subject and some more information regarding the titles. We are coming on the next topic, dimension. Without dimension, the drawings are incomplete. Without dimension, it's just a figure. So dimensions are very essential, and one need to consider the rules and regulations set for the dimensions very carefully while carrying out the drawings. On the moving further, dimension methods. So by definition, a dimension is a numerical value expressed in appropriate units of measurement and used to define the size, location, orientation in form of order, geometric characteristics of a part. The methods are basically aligned dimensions and unidirectional dimension. Aligned dimensions. Aligned dimensions we are used mostly when the lines are not breaking. In aligned dimension, one need to write the dimension on above the line, and in aligned dimension there are freedom of two direction. Either we can read the dimension from the bottom or from the right hand side of the drawing. So you can actually tilt the text on the above the dimension, but breaking the line is not permitted in aligned dimension. While if you are watching the figure, breaking the line and written the text in between the line, it's unidirectional. As the term says unidirectional, the text, the figures are written only in one direction. So tilting of the text is not permissible. So one have to read the dimension from the bottom only. However, you can draw the dimension line in any direction as you want. So these are the basic difference between aligned dimension and unidirection. Aligned and unidirectional, we are mostly using aligned dimensions. Next, chain and parallel. The chain dimension is used when one line drawing by one parallel line and showing the features along with the line. Chain dimensions are permitted when the tolerance of the feature, the functional parts, are permittable, that if it varies, there will be no change in functional requirement. That is called chain dimension. So one line, and we have to show all the feature on the one line itself. On the second part, parallel line is different from chain in that way that one datum surface has to be defined, and from that surface we have to show the remaining features by parallel dimensions. So there will be one datum line, and from that datum line all the features will be showing on the dimensions. On the next, there are some figures. First of all, we need to understand the ladder. As we seen before, this ladder has a great application. The ladder line contains the arrow-headed ladder, and the dimension for that is 3 times the height. For example, if the height is 1 mm, the length of the arrow will be 3 times, that means 3 mm. The arrow cannot be bigger than 5 to 6 mm. Usually it's drawn by the height of 2, and the arrow is maximum 5 mm. So the dimension basic types is, as we can see, the edges, on the right hand side, the unidirectional dimension has been shown. The basic dimension we mostly frequently use as a rectangle, as a circular part. Circular part we will see later on. So on the bottom right hand side we can see the parallel dimension system. One datum is defined, and from the bottom 8 mm, 22 mm and 30 mm can be shown. Both chain and a line dimension, we can use any of the system, a line system or unidirectional system. So there are some certain special symbols. For example, for the diameter is called phi, and it shows the full diameter of the circle. For example, the next symbol, the sphere diameter, is written sphere dia, and to save the space we write S and then symbol of phi. This is called sphere dia.